lot has to be made of weight, okay, guys? It just does, because we knew these guys were going to fight. I mean, we were told that a meaningful amount of time ago. Cowboy flew out to Australia for the card where Adesanya and Whitaker fought. But he flew out there to take the stage at a Q&A to announce that he was fighting Conor McGregor. Cowboy's fought two guys since then. Now the Conor fight finally comes around. But the point I'm trying to make for you, this was the worst kept secret in the sport. We knew these guys were looking to be on a collision course with each other. What was surprising was the weight class. When Dana White made this announcement, it was on Thanksgiving via tweet. It was a little holiday surprise for everybody. But the most interesting part of the announcement, it wasn't the date, it wasn't the venue, it wasn't the Conor versus Cowboy, it was welterweight. And I'm not the only one with this opinion. The line in Vegas moved from 6-1 favoring Conor McGregor to 3-1 favoring Conor McGregor. It got cut in half because of welterweight. It's so relevant. So you also have the question of, what do these 460 days mean? I'm talking about the 460 days since Conor McGregor has stepped into combat. Since the last time he's done that, then Conor has come out and openly shared with us, man, I've been being a knucklehead. And he didn't elaborate on that, whether some of the rumors and this and he just said, but I've been being a knucklehead. I changed my ways. I made a commitment to myself, to my team, to my fans. I liked that, right? I like a guy that can say, this isn't the way I want to live. Don't do what I did. Oh, and by the way, fighting in sport as a whole. I mean, the real great thing about sports, guys, it's really not about the participation medals, even as you get your kids into it. It's not about getting their hand raised or learning competition. The great thing about sport, it makes you tired and it keeps you focused. What more would you want? I mean, if you're a parent, what more would you want than that? Hey, coach, please teach my kid a skill and then send him home tired. So Conor kind of said these things, kind of said I had to get back on track. So I did. So I signed the contract with Cowboy. I got real focused. But the weight is still a relevant thing. Why 170 pounds when this is a 145 pounder? Why 170 pounds when this guy is ideally a 155 pounder? Why 170 pounds? And many people, myself included, have speculated this is actually a bigger play and it happens to be about George Masvidal. Okay, great. And that's a fun thing to say. And that may all be well and true. Why isn't he fighting George Masvidal? I mean, if I'm right about that, then why isn't he just fighting Masvidal? You think they wouldn't have made that fight? Think he could have got that fight? Sure, he could have. So the question does come, why 170 pounds? Today was the weigh-ins. So Conor gets on the scale and he weighs in at 170 pounds. Now look, guys, in life, everything's a trade. Okay, if Conor's going to be stronger, he looked fantastic. If he's going to be stronger, if he's going to have more power at 170, weighing 170, great. What's the trade? Well, that's going to come with a little bit of speed, and that's definitely going to come with conditioning. Okay, just imagine if you guys have never done it. Any of you guys runners, you go run. Okay, great. Whatever your time is on running, now go grab 10 pounds, put it in each hand, and go do the run again. Put on one of those weighted vests, go do the run again. You're going to see, you just get more tired. You're just carrying more weight around. Real basic, but this is the trade. Conor weighs in at 170. I was stunned. I couldn't believe it. He's been saying all week that he was, in the mid 60s. I even thought he'd probably come in a little bit closer to 164 myself. He came in on one of the Nate Diaz fights as high as 168. The relevance to 170 is it's the highest he's ever weighed. And even if it's only by 2 pounds, it's the most he's ever weighed. And in the history of fighting, more boxing than MMA in all fairness, but if a fighter ever comes in heavier than he's ever been before, ever, that's not good. It's just not. Because you start to beg the question, why? Why does he weigh more now? As human beings, guys, we don't get to pick what we weigh. If we want to lose weight, there's things we have to do to lose weight. We don't get to pick that number. But if you gained weight, there's generally things that you didn't do. There's generally miles that you didn't put in. And while Conor does look fantastic, and while I'm making a little more out of something than I think is going to play out in the fight, I think we're splitting hairs here. I really do. But I do feel this is one of those fights where in hindsight, everything's going to be so obvious. If Conor knocks him out in 30 seconds, it's going to be so obvious. Well, yeah, Conor looked great. And he did no meeting, and he focused, and he hasn't been drinking. And by the way, he was 170 pounds of muscle. Of course he knocked him out in 30 seconds. Or if Conor gets drugged into around, minutes 10 through 25 and starts to get a little fatigued, we go, well, of course, he hasn't done this in 460 days. Of course he's a little bit tired. By the way, he happened to weigh more than he's ever weighed before. It's going to be one of these fights where when it's all over, it's all going to seem so obvious to us.